I'm Marcus Blagrove. I'm from Liverpool in the UK, and welcome to the OhioRAAM Show.
Well, thank you, Marcus, for that introduction. Marcus will be on the show in the fall when we return after our summer hiatus. He's a researcher at the University of Liverpool where he works with mosquitoes and the viruses they carry around and trying to adjust their DNA so they don't do that. Well, that's not probably a very good explanation of what he does. I don't understand it, but we're glad there are people like Marcus around. And I'm Lee Kreider, the producer of the OhioRAAM show about cycling and ultracycling, and this is show number 189. Well, spring has finally arrived, and tomorrow we will start Calvin's Challenge once again, a rebirth, and we're glad for that. This is being recorded on the day before, and you will see it on the day after, and hopefully on our next show we'll give you a report on how it all went. And as always, our sponsors are Time Stations 41 in Oxford, Ohio, and Time Stations 42 in Blanchester. These are time stations in the race across America. And on the screen, you will see the dates that they will be open this year. We'll say a lot more about that in a later show. Be sure to check out the show notes, which will tell you more about our guests. Also, from those show notes, you can follow us on our Facebook page, on Twitter, or on Instagram. We're happy to have Team New Forest on the show today. New Forest is a large area in southern England, which is owned by the Crown, and one of the most delightful days that my wife and I ever had riding our tandem was traveling from Salisbury down to the sea, and we took a loop through the New Forest, and it is a wonderful place. We had some delightful experiences there, and so we're happy to go to England again, and Team New Forest. Maria, take it away.
Hi guys, how are you doing today?
Hi Maria.
Good, thanks.
Great. Okay, so you are a 4-person team. So I would love to know a little bit about you, like your background, where you come from in terms of when did you started cycling, etc.
My background is actually cricket, which is a sport that I don't know how well you know in the US. It's pretty popular in the UK, and it's not so popular in the US. Part of the reason I stopped was because I got into triathlon. I went watching a friend complete Ironman Switzerland in Zurich. I just went along with my wife for a holiday, and just was completely inspired by watching everyone. We both decided that we were going to take up triathlon ourselves. So I couldn't swim, didn't own a bike. I suppose I could run, and probably like a lot of people just got started from there. It's gone from there, really. It's become a way of life, to be honest.
Are you still doing triathlons, or are you just doing ultracycling right now?
To be honest, it's just been triathlon, and I've just basically stopped running now. I haven't run since August, not once, other than to catch a train. A little bit of swimming, but for RAM, obviously being a mega epic cycling event, I've just tried to come cycling to try and turn myself into a cyclist, and give myself the best opportunity to do well.
Ian, can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
I mean, my sporting background was from running on the track. I used to do a lot of running. It was in the late 80s I got injured with shin splints, and I had to come off the track. And my coach at the time told me to start swimming and do a bit of cycling. And I'd done my first triathlon in Cardiff in Wales in 89. And sort of from there on, really, I never really put the spikes on and ran back on the track. So I had sort of the bug for, and triathlon was fairly new in the late 80s. In the UK, and I sort of pretty much got the bug. So through the 90s, I'd done all the British series. We used to race for ranking points, so pretty high-end racing in there. Married and started business and things like that. And then I had about 4 or 5 years off, and then I came back in 2000 and started training again, and got more into the long course stuff, like Lee is now, really Ironman. So I done Ironman Austria, I've done Ironman South Africa, Arizona. From that through the sort of 2000 period, I sort of got the opportunity to do RAAM 2011, which I done with a team called Team Feet Data Techniques. So there's a 4-man team then. So we done that in 2011. It's taken 2 or 3 years really, just for the sort of the whole RAAM experience to come back and actually have the right team together. And now with obviously Team New Forest, obviously with Lee and John and Nick, who are the other 2 riders, we've got a really cracking team and a really good crew as well. 11 strong crew coming out with us.
Oh, nice. So can you tell us a little bit about the other 2 guys, Nick and?
Nick Buis and a guy called John Sibley. John Sibley, very good friend of mine. We've known each other since the early 90s. He used to race British Triathlon with me as well. He does Ironman as well. He's mainly a cyclist, to be fair. He comes from a very strong mountain biking background. Nick Buis, also from the New Forest. Nick's a very good runner, 32 10K runner. He's done 940 Ironman. So, yeah, quite a talent as well in the local area. Yeah, we've got, I say, good, strong guys. So I wouldn't say we train much together. Obviously, the winter's been pretty harsh down here. It's and same obviously where Lee is up in Lancashire. It's been quite wet. Yeah, we got 11 crew. All 10 guys are from the UK, and we've got 1 guy from Australia flying in. We got our own business, and we've got some software we sell in Australia. We do a lot. We deal with Dulux Protective Coatings in Australia, and actually they're one of our main sponsors as well.
Yeah, this is my first effort at ultra cycling.
Interesting. How about you, Ian?
Yeah, well, I suppose apart from doing Ironman, 2010 we done Land's End of John O'Groats, which is a 900+ mile ride. We done that as a 4-man team on a rotation, it was a bit of a RAAM run really prior to putting the entry in for 2011. And then in 2012 I went and done the race around Switzerland. So and that's been it really. So yeah, a couple of reasonable events, I suppose.
All right, guys, are you riding for any charity?
Yeah, we're riding for cancer research. Fortunately, one of my best friends and my auntie have had cancer, but they've recovered. A pretty mutual decision between the riders what charity would like to donate to.
I was just going to say that in the show notes, which will appear right below this video we mentioned before, there will be a link to a donation page. If you'd care to donate, it looks like you're headed toward your goal, and I would say you probably are going to make it. Be sure to check those out along with the other things that are in the show notes there.
Obviously, we're all competitive cyclists. We're competitive triathletes. Mm-hmm. So we want to go over there and do well. We'd like to get across the States first. We're all good cyclists, whether it's achievable. I mean, in 2011, we came second. We were beaten by an American team by 2 hours. I think the only situation that potentially might arise, which we were going to sit down and discuss the 4 riders, is that if one went down during the race, either through injury or accident, how would we deal with that as a 3-man team? That's probably the biggest question that we haven't answered yet, that we would have to reformat our strategy.
Okay, so you're talking about strategy. I'm assuming that based on your experience in 2011.
So I think that's the key thing, really. I think it's just sort of having a good, consistent ride across the States, and that's probably the most important thing for us. Do you want to add to that, Lee?
From what I've seen, read and heard, the thing like the sleep deprivation is going to come into it, and it's how you react and adapt to that. And it's not something really I think that's easy to train for, so it could hit me like a bolt from the blue. But yeah, how will we react to that? That's a big question for me.
I think that's pretty much, I mean, our charity is obviously our important thing, really. We want to raise as much money for cancer. Like Lee said, we've all been touched by it. I lost my sister 3 years ago. John lost his mum last year. So, the cancer charity is a big thing for the team. It's a big drive to go over there and just go over there, really have a really good experience. And I think the key thing is really sort of, you do hear a lot of scare stories that a lot of teams implode, don't they? Living in close quarters for so long, the pressure of it, the pressure pot of RAAM. Whatever time we come in, wherever we finish, I think it's just having that goal of getting across and all going out for a beer at the end of the day and getting drunk.
Thanks, everybody, for being here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks very much for the time, Lee.
Thank you, Lee. Thank you, Maria.
Thank you, guys.
Well, thanks, Lee, and thanks, Ian, for being with us. We're sorry the rest of your team could not be there. And thank you, Maria, again, for hosting the show. We want to thank all of you who watch the show, particularly those who support the show on the social media, who give us likes and shares and comments. And sometimes even some of the comments have been helpful in having us change our way of doing things here, and we appreciate those kind of comments as well. Now, our next show, we're going to have Team C to C. This is an 8-person, 4-tandem team. The stokers of this team, the 4 stokers, are all blind, and it is a remarkable story. We're anxious to tell it, and we're anxious to watch how they do in the race across America. So, Maria, goodbye.
Goodbye, Lee. Goodbye, everyone. See you in about 10 days.
Music by Kevin MacLeod.
By the way, that's what Lee does, just in case he throws you out to the wolves without warning.